Now, Tuesday is perhaps the biggest day for Brexit since the day of the referendum back in 2016. British MPs will vote later on Prime Minister Theresa May's EU divorce deal, and it comes after 5 days of intense debate in Parliament.
Over these next 24 hours, give this deal a second look.
Yet we've seen a divided government deliver a botched withdrawal deal with nothing more than a vague outline for what our future relationship with the EU will be.
When the history books are written, people will look at the decision.
During the past 2 years of shambolic negotiations, the Prime Minister has failed to listen.
I say we should deliver for the British people and get on with building a brighter future for our country by backing this deal tomorrow, and I commend this statement to the House.
The government is in disarray. It's clear if the Prime Minister's deal is rejected tomorrow, it's time for a general election. It's time for a new government.
And it seems, too, that Theresa May won't gain a lot of support for the deal from her own Conservative Party. Some of her MPs have already made it clear they will reject it. Anastasia Chorkina gives us now a roundup of events leading up to today's vote.
Today could make or break what has become Theresa May's life mission, delivering on what the British people voted for in the 2016 referendum. The House of Commons votes on the British Prime Minister's Brexit deal. If it gets their backing, the UK will finally be able to get on with it, as they say, after more than 2 years of division and confrontation about what Brexit is meant to look like. But if not, May is in big trouble, and most predict that MPs will be showing Theresa May's deal the door.
Today's letter is nothing more than a repetition of exactly the same position that was pulled more than 1 month ago.
Her deal is as dead as the deadest dodo.
Downing Street has already had to postpone the vote on her deal in December in order to avoid the humiliation of defeat.
We will therefore defer the vote scheduled for tomorrow and not proceed to divide the House at this time.
What followed was a slap in the face at home, a vote of confidence triggered by her own Conservative Party. May have survived, but passions continued to boil.
Following this ballot, we now need to get on with the job of delivering Brexit for the British people.
May travelled back to Brussels for some extra support, but didn't quite get it. The EU made it clear there will be no renegotiation on the withdrawal agreement, only clarifications and assurances.
It is not open for renegotiation.
To add insult to injury, reports were flying around that the president of the European Commission was calling May names.
I was not addressing her after having checked what I said yesterday night. She was kissing me.
Fast forward to today, little has changed. What's continued to pile up, though, is criticism. MPs have decided that May's government will have 3 days, if the deal is rejected, to come up with Plan B, a plan Theresa May is likely not to have. Opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn wants a general election as a way out of the deadlock.
The government is in disarray. It's time for a general election. It's time for a new government.
But despite the resistance, May continues to insist that her offer is the best one possible, saying not supporting her deal could lead to a no-deal Brexit or no Brexit at all.
While no deal remains a serious risk, having observed events at Westminster over the last 7 days, it's now my judgment that the more likely outcome is a paralysis in Parliament that risks there being no Brexit.
But isn't that something that so many politicians had preferred all along anyway, with some already laying the groundwork for a second referendum?
What else can we possibly offer to the British public which has any coherence at all but to go back and ask them to reconsider their decision?
Brexit is a con, a trick, a swindle, a fraud, a deception that will hurt most of those people it promised to help.
You know, why are we bothering to leave? I mean, we're still subject to all the rules and paying in cash and all of this kind of thing, freedom of movement, but we have no say over it.
It's the votes cast on Tuesday evening that will indicate in which direction the ship sailing in uncharted waters will head towards next. Anastasia Chorkina, RT, London.
Well, it is a massive vote, so much so a pregnant MP from the UK's Labour Party has postponed a caesarean section to allow her to take part.
If my son enters the world even one day later than the doctors advised, but it's a world with a better chance of a strong relationship between Britain and Europe, then that's worth fighting for.
Now, Nathan Gill, a UK politician and MEP for Wales, thinks Remainer MPs are doing everything they can to stop Brexit from happening.
She is the Prime Minister over a Remain Parliament. The vast majority of MPs are actually Remainers. So if she's telling them if they don't back her deal, there will be no Brexit, they're not going to back her deal. She's not going to persuade them to do so. It said very clearly on the ballot paper to stay in the EU or to leave. It said nothing about arranging a deal. It said nothing about triggering Article 50. It said nothing about any of these delaying tactics in which the Remainers are trying to galvanise their support and try and somehow grasping with their fingernails to stay within the EU when the British people were very clear about what they wanted. And the reality is 500 MPs voted to trigger Article 50. Article 50 says very clearly that it is either a deal that is agreed or on the 29th of March we leave without a deal. There is no option in there for no Brexit. So I'm not sure where she's coming from.